Hi, how's it going, everybody?
Hi.
Cool. I was kind of hoping that I could do this entire thing as they were cleaning up the blood. It worked really well. So it's okay. I appreciate the thought. So the piece that I'm going to do tonight is a snippet from a larger piece. I did a lot of stand-up comedy, and I've been told that I should really do a one-person show at some point. And it took me a very long time to finally sit down and do it because I realized that the best way to write a one-person show is to write some stand-up comedy bits and then cry sometimes. Thank you. Awesome. So this one tackles mostly growing up trans, learning about myself, and then also loving Japan. So my first dream jobs, because I had two, one was to be a taxi driver. I was 6, and to be fair, I thought that cars would be flying by the time I could drive. I blame Back to the Future too. Now, my other dream job, and I swear that this is true, was to become a ninja. Later in my teen years, I actually got to visit Japan, and it was incredible. I got to walk around, go through some temples, learn about, I think they're called nightingale floors, the floors that creak whenever you walk on them, so that anyone would know that whether there was an attack imminent. And I got to visit Osaka Castle. One thing I did learn while I was in Japan, and it was not from Osaka Castle, it was that I was much taller than the average Japanese citizen. So much so that while on tour, the bus driver spoke to me through our tour guide. It's going to be a lot of that tonight. Spoke to me through our tour guide, and he wanted to know how old I was. I said 13. My tour guide said, Jusan. And the driver immediately yelled, Jusan! I was told I was apparently much too tall to be so young. Now, I had no illusions that I might still become a ninja by the time I was 13. I was getting old enough to realize that wasn't a real career path. At that point, I realized there was no practical need for a stealth assassin, but that did finally seal the deal, being too tall. I could never be a ninja because I was so tall. I may as well wear bright pink. I won't blend in with anything anyways. I suppose I could assassinate Japanese noble dignitaries as they bring their kids to the carnival, but honestly, how often do they do that? Not very, if at all. I always loved Japan as a kid. My dad used to work for Wang, the computer company, not the penis. He did. He used to work for Wang Computers, and he would occasionally go to Japan on business. One of the first presents he brought back to me was a G.I. Joe action figure. I remember, I just loved it. It was tiny, and it was small, and I loved it. So in preschool, I gotta say, in addition to G.I. Joe, falling in love with G.I. Joe in preschool, it was the first place that I realized that my gender, the gender I was assigned at birth, and who I was, were not fully aligned. Yeah, that early on. See, people think kids are dumb, and while kids are certainly programmable, they're not dumb. I might not have had the self-awareness to talk about gender identity, but I gotta tell you, I first learned about it because I was obsessed with puffy sleeves. Those dresses with the big old puffs on the shoulders and the short sleeves? Yeah, they baffled me. I would ask the girls, how do they stay puffy? I never got a coherent answer. It was always, I don't know, they just do? Because that's how they talked back in preschool. My mind would race when I saw them. Like, are they filled with something? Cotton, tissue, some sort of complicated whisper-quiet fan mechanism that stayed on their backs but puffed air directly into their sleeves? Like, I had no idea. I can't say that I was completely consumed by this mystery. No. I was in preschool, and there were way more important things to think about than the systemic oppression against binary gender deviants. There was, of course, candy, and the existential questions of where do I find candy, and why am I not eating candy currently? Not to mention I got a good nap or two in time. But when I was thinking about the puffy sleeves, I think maybe if I wore a dress with puffy sleeves, I'd understand. But I couldn't. Because, and I'm putting this in quotes here, I was a boy. Throughout most of my childhood, I wrestled with these questions. Why does the way that I was born dictate my ability to puff a sleeve? Like, why can't I cry? Why is it okay for me to enjoy G.I. Joe but not say My Little Pony? I gotta tell you, My Little Pony was by far my favorite long-form commercial. As strange as the phenomenon may seem right now, to others, I'm so happy that My Little Pony is now widely watched and accepted in young male circles. Now, I mean, it still happily baffles me, and I'm incredibly in favor of the bronies. It's very much on the same lines as telling little girls it's okay to like superheroes and robots that turn into station wagons. Because it tells little boys that they can be proud to have an interest in the diabetes-inducing product heavily marketed towards girls. I'm an MLP hipster, I'll admit that, a Pega hipster, if you will. Yeah, it's kind of painful, right? Yeah. I was into My Little Pony back before friendship was magic. Thank you. I like this side of the crowd. I watched I was into My Little Pony back then. I watched that poorly synced, just dead eyes, that's what makes it work. Horribly plotted, sing-songy mess of an 80s television show which used crying, yes, crying, as a method of conflict resolution. Totally. If someone is mean and evil and working towards your end, I can see how crying would make them see the errors of their ways and stop. It does work in some occasions, mostly when white women are called racist. And I'm not saying that the G.I. Joe method of punching your adversary in the face is a better plan of conflict resolution. But, okay, so I did have a lot of G.I. Joes also. I mean, that's what I'd have them do. You stole this thing, punch you in the face. You're trespassing, punch to the face. You punched me in the face, punch to the face. G.I. Joe plotlines were equally as ridiculous as My Little Ponies, though. Cobra, the evil terrorist organization, once sent a satellite into space to hijack all of America's television. They hid rockets and fast food franchises. And they stole a machine to make women look pretty. It's like if Mary Kay Cosmetics It's like if Mary Kay Cosmetics got bought out by Al-Qaeda. Mary Qaeda, if you will. Yeah, thank you. At the end of the episodes, they would always say that knowing is half the battle, but what the hell is the other half? Like, I guess it's punching people in the face. Half the battle is knowing that you should spray paint in a well-ventilated space. The other half is violence is cool. My parents were very clear. I could not have a My Little Pony doll for the gendered reasons stated before. But they didn't say that I couldn't have a My Little Pony board game. Yeah, see, trying to get them that way. I saw one at the toy store and I had to have it. Had to have it. I was young, so science was a little fuzzy, but I was certain if I didn't have it, the world would end. I asked my mom, who said I could have a toy, to get me that My Little Pony board game, please. She didn't understand. She tried to show me all the other things I could get, but would I be swayed from playing as my favorite pastel equine heroines? No, I said I don't want those, I want that board game. There are some new G.I. Joes, maybe I could get you two. I want the board game. Well, if you want a board game, what about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game, huh? She started singing it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja. I was in full-blown crisis mode here. I mean, I thought the request was simple. I said, please, for crying out loud. A toy was offered, a toy was chosen, but that was not how this exchange was going to go down. I realized my mother had become my antagonist. She was stopping me from achieving happiness. Luckily, I knew how to fight back. I learned from the best that if an opposing force was keeping you from your objectives, I want that board game! I started crying. like real tears, like not being able to breathe tears. I mean, maybe it was because I showed how much I needed that game, or because my older brother was also crying and demanding attention, but it worked. My mom caved, and I got that board game. Thank you very much.